Hey guys, this is Tara Devlin, and Republicans are screaming about shoveling snow now because they need another fake outrage to prop up their voter suppression scam. Let's listen to Trader Trump.
Why would we do this? And they walk in, nobody even asks for...
Oh, shut your hole.
Do you have an identification? Do you have an ID? It's so crazy.
Isn't
the
it?
mayor of New York,
It is
and
crazy.
he's a very nice person. I met him, but his ideology is not too good. But we're having a massive snowstorm right now. And I heard that he's asked people to come out and help shovel the snow. Okay, so you get a shovel and you start shoveling, right? What the hell? You're not going to help too much, but you can help. And hello,
Oh,
darling,
God.
how are you? No, right behind you, look. My friend, right? Are you okay? Yes, you. Are you okay?
Oh, God.
Are you okay?
What is this?
Good.
Are you okay?
Good.
No,
Are
you're
your
not.
eyes okay? I gave her money to get her eyes fixed. A lot of money to get her eyes fixed. That doctor ripped me off, but that's okay. And when do you
Why
go?
don't you give everybody money to get their eyes fixed? Okay, I can't take it. Meaning, universal health care. Okay. Trader Trump and the Republicans are having a meltdown because now here in New York, I live in New York, we had a massive snowstorm, and the mayor of New York put it out there that you can go shovel the snow. As you heard the baboon saying, oh, just pick up a shovel and shovel the snow. You could always do that. Everyone's welcome to pick up a shovel and shovel. But if you want to get paid by the city of New York, you need to prove who you are. You need, just like any other work, temporary or otherwise, would require you. The New York City program that they're howling about is a temporary per diem job run by the Department of Sanitation. It pays hourly wages with advertised rates approaching nearly $30 an hour. When the city hires you, they have to verify that you're legal, right? Otherwise, they'd be whining and bitching about that, which is why the applicants are asked for 2 forms of ID and a Social Security card. That's not Jim Crow. That's basic employment law that every employer in America is supposed to follow. I know that Trader Trump has hired illegals, so he's good at getting around the rules. But here's the punchline that Republicans are deliberately leaving out. If you just want to be a good neighbor and pick up a shovel, you can do it for free. Nobody's checking your papers. The ID is tied to getting paid by the city, not your ability to touch a shovel after a snowstorm. But the whole fake, oh, I can't even believe it. You see how they run this? I'm so confused. It's so out of the norm. These Dems must be nutties. They're nuts. They're just nuts. Right-wing media is pushing this as a story. Caroline Leavitt tweeted about it because they have nothing better to do. They're not doing anything to make the country better or the world safe for democracy. They have nothing better to do than lie to the American people, and the dumbass is stupid enough to believe them. Scandalous. An ID to shovel snow, but no ID to vote. Oh, the humanity. Pretending that a temporary municipal work permit is the same as a constitutional right. It isn't, of course. Getting a short-term city job is a privilege with conditions. Participating in your government is the core of self-governance that Republicans are trying to destroy with their voter ID laws, of course. Even conservative outlets quoting the rules admit that these shovelers are hired per diem to clear bus stops and sidewalks and must meet certain requirements like age and work eligibility. And here's what the Republicans are bitching about. New York, like many states, doesn't make registered voters show ID at the polls because there is no evidence. There's no evidence at all of widespread in-person voter fraud. And courts have repeatedly recognized that extra hoops fall the hardest on the poor and the marginalized. We want people to vote. We want more people to vote. Republicans look at that. They look at people voting and they think, how can we bolt another lock on the door of the voting booth and call it common sense. They insist that voter ID is just harmless because everybody has an ID, see? And sometimes they even say, well, we'll give you a voter ID for free. But that ignores the real world costs of underlying documents that people have to obtain. Sometimes, they don't have that money to get a birth certificate, a passport. They don't have the time to take off work and travel to offices to get these things. The people who don't have the money for the bureaucratic scavenger hunts are the very people that Republicans don't want voting. That's why they focus on in-person ID rules, even though documented voter impersonation is I can't even say that word, infinitesimal, and nowhere near enough to swing elections. And as we know, if they didn't require, they were just handing out money to people without even knowing who they were, the Republicans would be screaming about that, not knowing who they were or collecting taxes. And Republicans in general don't win elections when people vote. They win when fewer people vote, and they know that. So they turn this blizzard into another rant about how nobody even asks for ID when people go to vote in New York, while mocking the mayor for asking people to help shovel. He never mentions that the IDs are about paying workers, not about whether you're allowed to move snow off a sidewalk, because they count on the stupidity of the people who are sitting in the audience, and that the crack White House press corps are not going to push back. And the dumbasses who vote for Trader Trump, they're certainly not going to connect the dots. They know exactly what they're doing. They want their base to hear ID for snow, but not for voting, and come away thinking that Democrats are secretly admitting that ID is necessary to stop fraud, but they just don't want fraud to stop at the polls, when the fact is we've stopped the fraud at the polls. In-person voter fraud doesn't even move the meter, a blip. The real game here is that the Constitution protects people's power to choose their government, not the other way around, not the powerful choosing the voters. But that's something that the Republicans are more comfortable with. And the entire arc of voting rights laws in this country has been about knocking down barriers, not inventing new ones. Republicans look at multiracial liberal democracy and they see a math problem that they can't solve without cheating. And here's the thing. If they truly believed that their ideas were popular, they'd be registering voters. They'd be opening polling places, not closing them. They'd make Election Day a holiday, not a gauntlet. Instead, they throw a tantrum over ID to get a temporary city paycheck while quietly turning your right to vote into a privilege that only the Republican get to enjoy. Guys, thank you for listening. Tell me what you think. We will win. We're on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin. I'll see you soon.